Hi, it's Dave and Chantel again, and welcome to week 2, which is medieval and Renaissance art. Before we dive into that, I'd just like to talk to you a little bit more about the in-depth artist analysis paper. That is, I didn't know exactly where to put it in the structure of things because it's sort of a final. It's due the last day of class, August 1st. That's located in the very first block where all the introductory art material is if you want to see the assignment. But the assignment's pretty simple. It's write 1,000 to 1,500 words, which is about 3.5 pages, typed, normal font, double space, about any of the artists we have studied this semester. So I just want it to be somebody we've looked at this semester, but other than that, it's wide open. You can talk about their history, their biography, who they are. You can talk about their art and what they did and how you receive it and what you think about it, why you've chosen to write about it. All of that stuff is fair game. It's just this class moves so quickly and kind of goes over the surface of things. We wanted to do just one assignment that was a little bit more in depth. So that's what that is. As always, if you have any questions about that or anything else in the course, get in contact with me. I'm happy to answer your questions anytime. So, medieval and Renaissance. A lot of modern historians don't even use those terms anymore because they don't no longer see it. What's the story of the Renaissance? Supposedly,
I mean, it's a lot of people refer to it as, the Renaissance means rebirth, and a lot of times it's told that there was like a rediscovery of things Greek and Roman, and that always confused me because I was like, what, like in the Middle Ages, did everything just get hidden away? And in some instances it did, things just kind of got put away while we were focusing on the plague and everything else that was going on, rough economies, reworking government structures. And then in Italy, things, trade routes opened up, the economy improved. Now we can spend more time contemplating what was done in the past. And so in some ways it is a rediscovery, but it's not completely new. It's sort of like a new recognition of these ideas, and patrons now have money to support artists, and if I can pay you to produce art, more art is going to be made. And so we see a lot more art being produced. And this is the first time that we start to have artists that we know who they are. They're signing their works because, if they're recognizing that they have the abilities to do these things. Yeah.
You said the economy improved. Yeah. I would say the economy was invented.
Yeah.
In some ways, because, in the medieval time, what's called medieval times, we don't see money nearly as much as we do with the expansion of the trade routes. The Crusades in medieval time increased travel and created a necessity for crusaders who were going to go fight the Islamic warriors over the Holy Land, that they needed some way to be able to have wealth and to move it to the Holy Land because they were choosing to go there, and they needed a way to do that. And so that also opened up trade routes. And so there became the idea of money, really, and the idea of trade on a much larger scale than happened in medieval times.
Also, I mean, technology improved in terms of ships and things like that, and so now we have more travel over the water and people exploring and, venturing to India and the East and trading there also.
Also, I think a big thing that happened, if there was a Renaissance, again, many modern scholars don't really see it as this sudden rebirth. Where did the Greek and Roman stuff go? The answer is the monasteries. The holy orders, the brothers and the nuns, they were the ones who were literate, and because of the inheritance of Greece and Rome, Greek and Latin became this lingua franca. That means a language spoken everywhere. So scholars could communicate with each other during medieval times, but the average person wasn't literate, didn't travel more than 25 or 30 miles from their birthplace. There was not a lot of movement. That doesn't mean there wasn't anything happening. I mean, this is when we see the start of the building of the great cathedrals,
right,
when we see pilgrimages start to occur, which are an important part of medieval life, when life is rooted in the community.
Yeah, and remember, colleges started in the Middle Ages.
Right, they started in the brotherhoods and the holy orders, the Franciscans, the Dominicans, etc. And it wasn't that they were rediscovered, I don't think so much, as there became an awareness of the broader world and that information began to be shared more.
Yeah.
Artists in medieval times didn't sign their work because art in medieval times was for the glory of God. And so there was no tradition of who did it, because that wasn't important. The important thing was how we glorify God. Another thing we see in the time called the Renaissance is a more secularization of art, that it's not necessarily as religious, although the Renaissance has a lot of religious art.
Well, and in the South, it was much more religious. But still, yeah, you're right, kind of one step removed, right? I mean, Michelangelo's David, that's a biblical figure, but kind of glorified and enhanced, etc.
And we know that Michelangelo did it because the individual becomes more important during the Renaissance. Individuality starts to take on an importance, and this is another, a return to the sort of humanism of the Greeks, that the individual life, Plato said an unexamined life is not worth living, that it's about my identity and who I am. And so now we have artists who want to leave a mark on the world and say, this is Raphael, this is Brunelleschi, this is my work. And also, it's moved out of the church. The cathedrals and the priests themselves sponsored much of the art of the medieval times, whereas now we're starting to see these wealthy secular individuals. They're still asking that the work be dedicated to religious purposes, but it's sponsored more secularly, and there's more money involved. And artists expect to be paid more, and it's a way of making a living.
Yeah. I mean, Da Vinci was very much motivated by making money. I mean, it was like, okay, I got to get this project done because I need to get paid. In the North, we go even more secular, and
it's fine. We'll pick it up later.
It's where they're, in a way, with the Reformation, the secular nature is connected with the church because it's starting to say, who am I and what is my relationship? It's not so much about the cathedral and the church and the priesthood as my personal connection with religion.
By the North, we mean England. We mean Holland. We mean the Netherlands, the Low Countries. There's the Flemish school, which is Belgium and Holland. By the South, we generally mean Italy. It happened in Italy first because it's on the trade routes coming from the Near East. And there was a lot of commerce going through to Italy, and the Italians made a lot of money on it, and they spent a lot of it on art.
And the weather's warmer.
Right.
Remember, there's a mini ice age going on in the northern countries.
Right.
And so life was, things were able to kind of start and percolate in the South easier because things were better. I mean, the weather was nicer. The plague wasn't as harsh as it was north.
Well, you can tell we're used to talking for 80 minutes.
Yeah.
Because we've gone 9 now, and we should probably give the students a break because there's a lot more material for them to review, and this is supposed to be introductory. Hope that helped. Enjoy the unit on the Renaissance and medieval art. As always, any questions, any problems, any concerns, give me an email. I'm happy to help you any way I can. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.